Hello, this is the 400 Board Game Challenge, where I am playing through all the board games in my collection. Today, I'm going to be talking about the new and the old. Books of Time came out in 2023. I got it just a couple weeks ago. Lords of Waterdeep came out in 2012. I played Lords of Waterdeep a couple times when I first started going to Rook and Pawn. I'm not familiar with the Dungeons and Dragons universe, but it was a popular game with the group that I was meeting with regularly. Of course, we played with all the expansions, so when I bought the game, I bought all the expansions as well, and you guessed it, I put it on my shelf and never played it again. So that was 2015. After 8 years, I definitely needed a rules refresher. But Lords of Waterdeep is not a complex game, at least not on the surface. The four of us had all watched a video before we went to the game, so we had a basic understanding of the worker placement actions, and we caught on quickly to the intrigue cards and how they could seriously mess up somebody's plans. The Lords of Waterdeep involves taking actions to collect cubes and exchange those cubes to play quest cards, which may give you special abilities on special actions, and most importantly, score a bunch of points. But these aren't just cubes, they're adventurers, they're clerics, and fighters, and rogues, and wizards. Now, the wizards and the clerics are especially rare, and the spaces that provide those adventurers are quickly taken up by other players. There is also an action space that provides the opportunity for a player to purchase a building and make it available for everyone. This will provide all players with more choices. When somebody uses the building that you paid for, you get more adventurers or money, something that helps you complete your quests. These quests are probably specific to the Lord that you are keeping secret from all the other players. Despite the simplicity, this game is very tense. Someone might play an intrigue card that requires you to pay for a mandatory quest, which will absolutely delay your plans for playing the quest card that you intended to play on your turn. This ultimately determined the outcome of the game that we played. While three of us were busy attacking each other, the player who had trailed the whole game suddenly positioned himself into the lead and finished strong to win the game. So, this is one of those games where the expansion really is important to the interaction with the other players. The Skullport expansion gives you another resource skulls. There are actions available on your turn in the Skullport expansion that give you a ton of resources, but you will also get a skull. A skull will ultimately give you negative points, potentially a lot of negative points, unless you can find a way to get rid of them. So, Lords of Waterdeep does not require a mathematical formula to determine your best move. You don't need a computer science degree to understand the complexity. The strategic planning here ultimately involves mitigating the player interaction. You lay low, play your quest cards without drawing attention to yourself, you're probably going to win the game. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, I just got Books of Time a couple weeks ago. It doesn't seem fair that I have games on my shelf waiting to get played, sitting there for years, and this new kid comes along and gets pulled from the deck immediately. These are all the cards that I have to choose from. These are all games that I haven't played yet. And then I happen to choose Books of Time just randomly from this deck of cards. So that's just how it goes sometimes. That's the 400 board game challenge rules. In Books of Time, every player has 3 books. The components here really want you to get involved in the theme of this game. During the game, players are adding pages to each book in an effort to collect sets of symbols based on the scoring tiles in their player area. You will need to advance up the track of each corresponding book. You can choose to take the action of that space, or you can choose to remove the top scoring tile of one of the books, which will increase your scoring potential, but it will also make the requirements more difficult. And this is a tough choice because you really want to score points. As you might imagine, the primary resources in this game are pens and paper. There might be some fiddly resource exchanges during a player's turn that might look like, pay 3 pens and 2 paper and receive 2 pens and 1 paper, because you can use the resources that you gain to pay for stuff that you're getting, which will result in some pretty clever action chaining. But it might also cause a little analysis paralysis, or even worse, the taking back of an action because the chaining did not achieve the desired outcome, or changing the order of the actions so that the chaining was more efficient. There is not a whole lot of interaction in this game, so it's kind of up to you to pay attention to someone else's turn to make sure that mistakes were not made. Everyone has exactly 16 turns to score points during the game and collect the sets of symbols required for each book. You will score the points on the scoring tile that you have uncovered, provided that you have met the requirements. You will also score points for the pages in each book if you have reached the top of the corresponding track. So, Books of Time is a game I would have passed over immediately because the current ranking on Boardgame Geek is over 6,000. This ranking is kind of a first impression when I am considering purchasing a game. I'm very unlikely to take a chance on a game that is ranked that low. I mean, there's probably a reason why it's ranked that low. But I really like this game. I don't understand why it has such a low ranking, but it's a new game, and we'll see what happens in a couple months. Maybe this game will get the love it deserves.